Good evening and welcome to Suffering in Silence with Pastor Tia here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, we are continuing to rise out of the ashes together. Our topic on this evening is Sister Circle. We want to talk about the importance of providing a safe space for women to heal. We have with us our guest. I'm sorry. Look, Apostle, I told you we are live. It just goes how it goes. I was thinking at one time. So we have with us our co-host for the evening, Erin Mitchell, and we have with us our guest for the evening, Apostle Stephanie Jordan from Abiding Love Deliverance Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Listeners, if you have any questions or comments for our guest or our co-host, you can reach out to us by email, sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com, or you can also text us at 437-778 3299. And also, if you have any resources that you want to share with us on a national or local level from your country, your community, any local organizations or your faith community, you can also email us at sufferinginsilencedv@gmail.com. And with that, Erin, I would ask if you would go first and greet our listeners on today.
Yes, thank you. Welcome everybody to Love Bay Afrobeat Talk Radio with Pastor Tia on Suffering in Silence. I'm a board member of Tia's organization, Rise Out of the Ashes. It's such a pleasure to be here with both of these amazing women tonight and just have a really good conversation about community circles. Specifically, we're going to hear about sister circles and discuss about the importance of dialogue between women and women having safe spaces to gather and have good conversations about lots of things. So we'll hear about that. Again, my name is Erin Mitchell. I'm a co-host here on the show. And it's just really important, this show to me, because it's about sometimes tough conversations, but also conversations about tough issues where I think solutions are discussed. And that's very inspiring to both myself and I hope all of you listeners out there. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I got in touch with Tia with my work with Indigenous women and girls through empowerment and self-defense training programs that I developed in an organization I founded called House of the Moon. And I was a guest on the show originally, but then just got more involved in solutions-based organizations around, prevention of violence against human beings and all beings. So this is a really important show for me, and I'm just excited to be here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. And with that, Apostle Stephanie, if you would take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers on tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Tia, Pastor Tia, and Erin for having me. I'm Apostle Stephanie Jordan. I'm from Abiding Love Deliverance Center. I'm one of the founders and senior pastor. We are here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Originally, I was in the Philadelphia area. I also am the founder of an organization called Sister Circle Fellowship. And so it's Sista with an A, Sista, Sista. And so that's for all the passion that us women have.
Yes.
And so
yes.
Sister Circle Fellowship. And this is a ministry that I actually started on my own, being a member of a church, but I started an outside ministry, if you will, for ladies. And it actually is, we started in 2013. It's been that long, 2013, that we actually started Sister Circle Fellowship. And it's an amazing group. Women gather from all over. And we have grown. Surprisingly, we've grown even the more over COVID. And so I am a senior pastor, apostle. I'm also a wife to my husband, Apostle Tommy Jordan. I'm a mother and a grandmother now. And so I'm just like super excited. And I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm glad to say that, an entrepreneur, and I have many wear many hats. I'm a baker. We have a catering company, and also have a new company called Pivot. Amen. Just helping people navigate through life, if you will, with Pivot, helping them to do a lot of different things, whether it's get a job or GED or resume writing, just helping people navigate through life issues.
That is awesome. So, Apostle, can you share your contact information? So, for anyone who wants information on any of your organizations or businesses, how should they contact you?
Sure. So if you are, again, we are Abiding Love Deliverance Center. And so our email address is Abiding Love Deliverance Center, all one word, at gmail.com. And then for Sister Circle, our email is Sista, Sista, Circle Fellowship at gmail.com. They are the two prominent emails. And then if you are looking for help, you can contact us for Pivot also. Our email is a help, the number 4u2 at gmail.com, a help for you too at gmail.com. And we also on social media, we have a private group for the women, where no one else can see it. You have to be invited. And let me not just say it's just for the women, because I know we live in a society where people identify as as other pronouns, if I could say that correctly.
Yes.
And so everyone is welcome. And so even we have times where the men do sit in our conversations, but for the majority it's for the women. But if you identify as a woman, you're welcome. But it's a safe space. And so it's Sister Circle Fellowship on Facebook. It's a private group. You have to be invited in. And so that way it kind of keeps us safe. It's not
Yes.
out there when we have our conversations.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And if I need a strawberry shortcake, how can I get that?
So, jeez, the name of my company is called Diane's Confections. It's Dyans, and Diane's, that's my middle name, Diane. And so it's Diane's Confections, and you can probably contact me directly.
Me for my special order. Yes.
Contact. We do ship. We do ship pound cakes and other things. Now, depending on the weather and where it's at, and how delicate of an item it is, we may not ship it.
Okay.
But I have been known to ride from North Carolina up north and drop cakes and pies off in Maryland, DC, Richmond, Jersey, Delaware, all the way up to Philadelphia.
I know I should get a cake now.
Yeah, I'm known to do that, and so we definitely do. So our baking company and also our catering is Jordan's Culinary Creations. We travel. We travel. Now, if you say, "Listen, I'm having a party for two, and I only got $100 budget. I don't think we're going to show up." And but for the right group and all of that, we definitely have traveled to other states. We're not.
You need to get paid. You need to get paid. Yes.
All I can say is eggs and butter are high now. I don't know. But yes,
Right.
we do bake, and we cater all kinds of events and parties, and that is our passion to serve people love through food.
Awesome.
And we do all a variety. My husband, he's an amazing cook, if I could brag on him, but he's an amazing cook. And so he does all kinds of foods. And I'm the baker. That's all. I'm just the baker.
Well, I think that was awesome. So what I did was just wrote a note down. We serve people love through food. So what we're going to do is you and Apostle Tommy have to come back, and we need to talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right, so got you. So what we're going to do right now, as usual, Love Bay, I'm going to share some resources, and then we're going to go right into our topic. You know that we have Rise Out of the Ashes Inc. That is my nonprofit, which Erin is a part of. And if you would like to help us as we continue to raise funds, you can write a check to Rise Out of the Ashes Inc. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 15. We're in Drexel Hill, PA. Our zip is 19026. Or you can visit GoFundMe and look for our nonprofit, again, which is Rise Out of the Ashes Inc., to help us financially as we carry out our endeavors to help victims and survivors of domestic violence. I am happy to say we have been able to help relocate individuals from one place to another to get them to safety. We've been able to provide finances for food and clothing, school supplies for individuals, and we want to be able to keep doing that. So we need help to do it. So if you would like to give, please do so. I want to share the North Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Their website is nccadv.org. Their phone number is 919-956-9121. And if you visit this website, what you're going to find is a list of domestic violence agencies that serve all 100 counties across North Carolina. We also have the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Their website is thehotline.org. The number is 1-800-799-7233. That is for the United States. We also have the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Their number is 800-656-4673. Or you can chat online. Their website is online.rainn.org, or you can just visit the website rainn.org, rainn.org. And then for Canada, we have the Canadian Women's Foundation. Their website is canadianwomen.org. Their number is 1-866-293-4483. And Love Bay, with that on this evening, we move into our topic on tonight, a Sister Circle. Again, the importance of providing a safe space for women to heal. And so, Apostle, my first question would be to you is how and why you created the Sister Circle Fellowship.
Thank you. Let me first say, I want to, if I can,
Yes.
backtrack. Today, I just heard on the news that North Carolina is one of the states that has the highest rate of domestic violence. And so, thank you so much for sharing those numbers. There was recently a young lady, in her 40s, if you will, dating a man who murdered her, and she left behind 4 kids. And so, and this is also a state that is known for sex trafficking. And so, I thank you for sharing that. And people, they wouldn't believe, they were saying how the rate has increased in North Carolina of women who are being abused. And, so I really thank you for sharing that. That's, those numbers are very important. I hope that people will take time to have the courage to use them.
Yes.
And reach out. So Sister Circle Fellowship, it was, in 2013, so a friend of mine in Delaware, she had a group called Sister to Sister. And I used to go from Philadelphia to Delaware all the time. But then at some point, my schedule got crazy, so I wasn't able to go. And I said, well, we need something like this in Philadelphia. And so I created Sister Circle Fellowship. And we would meet, and it was important to me that people would have a safe place to come and share for the women, where they weren't judged, where they could be uniquely them, and unapologetically who they are. So many times we go into different places where we have to put on the mask. We have to you have to wear your hair a certain way. I remember going to job interviews and, I'd be like, oh, well, I got to have my hair straightened or they're not going to hire me, or I have to have on the perfect skirt with heels and all of that. And so in organizing Sister Circle, it was a place where women could come and know that they could be uniquely who God created them to be, um, unapologetically. And if you needed to cry, if you needed to yell, if you needed to fuss or vent, you could do all of that. And you know, it was always important for me to create an atmosphere where people would feel safe to share, knowing. And even recently, we had an impromptu gathering with the women at my house the other day. And it wasn't nothing advertised. It was just like, hey, we're all here and it's aligning our schedules. Let's meet. And what I said was, what we share here stays here.
Yes.
But what we learn here, we can share on the outside. And so there are some things that we will learn from each other that, sure, we will share with other women. Because even though you have an organization, I have an organization, we'll never reach everybody in this world. But, if Erin comes, she'll go and tell her circle of friends in the next circle. And so we can share those things. But the personal things we keep within the circle. And so I always try to create atmospheres where, one, it's not a gossip session.
Yes.
It's not a place where we come to argue and debate. It's a place where, we love on each other. And even if I have to say, hey, sister, you're going in the wrong direction. Come on, babe. Let's come on this way. It's still in a way where they're not felt like, okay, they're all against me. And I think that that's important, because especially when you're already having a hard time and you go searching for help, you don't want to get to the help and the help roughs you over.
Exactly.
And so I think that's always important, a place where you can be trusted. And that's something that I learned at a young age. One of my mentors would say, when people come to you and talk to you, they need to know that they can trust you. They need to know that their business is between you and them, and you don't hear it later on, in the church, or you don't hear it later on in the family, the group chat or whatever, and I think that that's really important.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you, I was thinking about it this week. The women and the men who participate, does there have to be a church affiliation, or is it open to, if a woman is just in need and she just needs that space and she just needs to come, can she be with you in your group, or is it church affiliated based?
Yeah. No, it's not church affiliated at all. Again, even though I'm an apostle and I have a church, Sister Circle has not one doesn't have to do with the other. If you're Muslim, you're Buddhist or Hindu or atheist, you're welcome to come, because one thing is that we all share a common thing. We're women.
Right.
We're women. And so the things that a Muslim woman goes through is no different than the things that maybe a Christian woman goes through, or someone that's in Catholicism. We all go through the same things. And so recently I was at a doctor's appointment, and a woman, after she came out of the doctor's office, we're all in the waiting room, and she was like, I got good news at this visit. And we all just started celebrating her. And I was just, it was amazing to me. We all just started celebrating her, because why? We all want to win. When she wins, I win. Even though I might still be going through what I'm going through, the fact of the matter is she's winning and we're a team. And so, and I don't have to personally know her or what she's going through, but yes, Sister Circle is for all women. And like I said, even people who identify as a woman, you're welcome to come. We don't have I will say most of our stuff is geared towards the women. But like the men will come and serve. I'm glad to say that I have a team that we had one event here in Charlotte over the summer, and the men came in, they set up all the tables, they served the women the food, and they did all of that. And so that's what they were there for. They weren't there to listen in or anything, get some keys or, they let the women have their space, but they were there to set up and all. And so I still believe that at some point, men and women should be able to come together, even though it's sister circle fellowship, because how are they going to understand why I got the tears that I have, or how to handle me if they've never been around a woman, or if they've never, I didn't realize that that's how you handle the tulip versus the gardenia, and so we do, but for the most part, our gatherings are just for women.
Okay.
But we can't say we discriminate against you because you're a man, because that opens up a whole nother can of worms.
Right.
But they are our gatherings are for the women, and we do mostly ask that it's for those that are at least I would say 17 and up. And the reason why I say that is because we have mature conversations. And so sometimes when those mature conversations happen, I don't want to be the first one to introduce your daughter or your niece to something that they don't even know about. But we have women that come and they want to talk about, their violations, or they want to talk about, maybe what I'm going through in menopause. And then you have a daughter that's saying, "What's menopause?" I don't want to have to identify that. So we do put an age limit on it, because and even if you have a 17-year-old that is not mature, that might not be the atmosphere for them. And so I'm mindful of that, because I want women to be able to come and speak candidly.
Yes.
And sometimes I've been in the presence of some women that they feel like they just need to cuss. I just need to get this off my chest. I'm not mad, or whatever that saying is. I'm not bitter. I'm just mad. And it's okay to be mad. That's a natural emotion that God has given us, and so that's okay too. And so we always are mindful of, like, we don't normally invite the little people into our space.
And that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. I think that the age appropriateness is something that should be handled, what you do. And I want to go back to just a comment you made. I think it was simple, but it was really, really, I believe, profound. You said, "When she wins, I win." I think that is absolutely beautiful. And in my mind, I believe also that when she hurts, I hurt.
Yes.
And I should be able to be available. And so, Love Bay, I attended one of Apostle Stephanie's women's fellowship. And for me, it was absolutely beautiful. And I don't go to women's fellowships unless I am one of the speakers, unless I am participating, because I'm on the platform or whatever. Like I just don't go, because it's never been a safe space for me. Apostles Stephanie's women's fellowship is one of the only that I can remember going to as an attendant. And I mean, for the past few years. And when I went into that space, I felt safe. Nobody was pushing me and prodding me, like, get up, tell your story, open up, say anything. No, I was able to sit there and get what I needed. I was able to be me in my quietness. And the thing about me is I never just get up and do just anything. If you ask me, I'll do it, but I don't just go into a room and just start whatever. So I sat there until it was, time for me, however that way was made for me to speak. And when I did, it was, the atmosphere was safe. I didn't feel like, when I say this, I'm going to get back home and I'm going to have a bunch of phone calls and emails. And that has been my experience before. when I initially opened up about the domestic violence and going through that and trying to get help, I was met with a bunch of questions. I was met with gossip, and it's from people in the church, people who I thought were my friends. It was like now there are discussions and gossip about me instead of actually helping me. So I learned the hard way. I can't open up in this space because it's only going to cause more harm. And as I began to get help, I didn't get it within the church. I didn't. I had to go to outside organizations. And then when I was receiving help from the church, I had to step outside of my denomination. Like I went to the Catholic Church to get what I needed. And so I just commend you on what you're doing, because I can say I've personally been on the beneficial end of it. And when that program was over, nobody was calling me up saying I heard and this is what was happening, and it that really meant a lot to me personally, to where I could say yes, that's something that I can participate in that again. If I get a call, yes, I can go, I can help. And if I'm not there myself, that's a space I know that I can recommend for somebody else to go into. And I know that they're not going to be hurt or mishandled. Because when you step into an arena and you finally say, yes, I want to open up, I want to do something about being abused, being physically abused, being sexually abused, and then you're just met with a bunch of women cackling and staring at you. I mean, that stuff is real. It actually happens. And so you're already damaged. And then more damage comes on top of you because you're trying to get help. So again, I commend you on what it is that you're doing. I've seen it for myself. I've experienced it myself. And so, Love Bay, if you do want to participate in any kind of way, like this is a place that will be safe for you to take that step. And sometimes you just need to be able to take that first step just to open up and let the words out. Like, this is what's happening to me. This is what's going on. Or to be able to be next to another woman who was strong enough for her to give her story and for her to say something and then give you the courage to move forward. So to me, that is what atmospheres like this create, and it's needed, and it's sad that it's not more of it. Because like you said, like you're in North Carolina. I would reach out to North Carolina before I'm, you know, close to home. And unfortunately, it happened that way. But I commend you on what it is that you're doing. Erin, I'll ask you, if you have a question or comment for Apostle Stephanie.
Yes, definitely. I have a couple. It's just so great being with you. I feel like I want to be your friend. I feel like the way that you are, I mean that sincerely. The way that you are, you're so grounded. You have such clarity, such love in your words, such kindness, and really just the smarts, the wisdom to kind of see where people are at, and I can feel your ability to not judge. And I think that we can say that we don't judge, we can pretend we don't judge,
right.
But there's something really real about somebody who has lived a life, has experiences that have touched them enough that they've transformed that inside of themselves, and so I guess my question for you is, how did you, who inspired you, or how did you learn to be such a loving person that you do everything? And it sounds like even in your entrepreneurial endeavors, really to try to touch other people in a positive way.
To be honest with you, Erin, I want to say the love of God. Like, I would love to give credit to a lot of different places, but it really comes from the love of God. Like, through my relationship with Christ, it has groomed me to care about people at a whole nother level. And because when I wasn't saved, I was very self-centered. I was very I don't even want to, I don't know, rude.
Hmm.
I was very rude at times towards people. I didn't care about, their issues. And, I had a mindset of, oh, well, come on, you should get over it. And so through the love of God, that has changed my heart and my mind towards people. And to the point that I'm intentional. Even like with Tia, when I just heard her speaking, Tia, I'm sorry that the church handled you in that manner. I apologize for those leaders or those people who have ridiculed you and roughed you over, and that should never be. And so I think that's where that comes from. And I genuinely love people. I really do. And so it doesn't even coming to North Carolina is funny because they sometimes they don't when you're from the north, from the city, they're like, oh, you're from the north, you're from the city. So this one lady that I befriended, she said, I can't believe you're sure you're from Philadelphia. She was like, you're the nicest northerner I've ever met. And so, it's just the love of God. And through that, God has given me favor, like in the marketplace and other places that I'm at through that, because it doesn't take anything away from us to apologize or just to show natural love to people. It takes nothing away from us,
Yeah.
and especially in a world that's not so kind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I wanted to ask some kind of, I don't know, logistical questions. Do you have these on Zoom or are they in person?
So we meet both in person, and we also meet. We have a Facebook private group page.
Hmm.
And so once a month, every second Friday at 8 o'clock, we actually have our, it's called Let's Talk About It. And so I normally come up with a different topic, and we will just kind of chat and chew. So, bring your food wherever you're at and your tea. And then we have Let's Talk About It. Now, we do in-person meetings now that COVID is over. I try to do one once or twice a year. Last year we did the Ruth and Naomi experience, talking about building unbreakable bonds, and we did that here in Charlotte. But I'm actually planning for spring of 2025 to come back to Philadelphia, and I kind of like bounce it back and forth because I'm from Philadelphia and I'm from that area, and I have a great following in that area. And so I have women who still say, well, when you coming back to Philadelphia? And I
Right.
said, well, when the cold and the snow go, and I'll
Yeah.
be there in the spring. So I am planning for that. But I do like, even when it comes to like one-on-ones with women, I do Zoom. So
Hmm.
I do through Zoom, and that comes through um, my organization that I'm building now, Pivot, where I do one-on-ones with women who need counseling or just talk through life issues,
Hmm.
that type of thing. But you're welcome to be my friend, Erin. I was
Uh,
going to ask you, like, when I have my next event, I hope to see you and Tia there. And so,
mm,
and it's open to everyone. Like that's what I like to stress. It's open to everyone. Like, um because so many times we see where people, I watch, Tia's been to my event. I normally have some type of icebreaker where I break up the groups, because everybody sits at the table with the people that they came from, and
yeah.
okay, let's shuffle the deck. Come on, let's move around the room. And now you have to sit near someone else that you don't know, because um none of us are an island, none of us. And we have to get rid of that mindset. And so I like people to know, like, none of us ever have to go through alone.
Hmm.
And that's really important to know. Like, you don't realize that the person next to you have gone through similar experiences, but for whatever reason, we won't even because you don't look like me or talk like me, or you're not from the same city as I'm from, I won't even look your way.
Mm-hmm.
But as women, we find out like we all, um, believe it or not, like this thing here with domestic violence, and we all have been touched by it in some way. Even if it hasn't personally happened to me, I know somebody that it has happened to. Like for me, I grew up in a home where domestic violence was there. And so even though I've never been in a relationship where I really had to deal with that, I seen my mother go through it. And so it still affected me. I
Mm-hmm.
still understand how crucial this could be.
Yes.
Mm.
Like, and so, and as a child, I know that this affects our whole family, our
Yeah.
whole community. I a woman next door to me one time was on a run from a man, and she was hiding at another girl's house, and he found her there. And so it can affect all of us, and I think it's really important for us to build these bonds with other women, and don't allow the little things to separate us.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah.
so I want to say, and I want to say thank you for it, that I've seen you do it. And I know one of the things that you do is really make the effort for individuals to know that you are not by yourself, you're not alone. And
Yeah.
so I've seen you put that effort in to to speak to someone who you don't know. Like while we're in here in this space, it's okay and it's safe. And so it's not that you just say it, and it's not that you just, are throwing words out there. You actually um, prepare the atmosphere. You prepare the atmosphere. Like you can walk in and you can see this is okay. It's safe, and we're still going to be safe as we move around and try to get you to interact, to open up a little bit in this safe space, because there are some relationships that are gained within that fellowship that I might not come back to another fellowship, but I might still have that relationship. Like I met women who I didn't know before, and I'm still, we're in contact. And so I commend you on doing that. And Love Bay, I want to take a moment. I want to thank you, our viewers and listeners. I want to say hello to Icon and Apostle Tommy Jordan. Absolutely.
That's
I
my boo.
want to Icon, Likeman, and one of our viewers put in a comment, and she said, or our viewer said, places, don't let you heal when you're playing games. And that
Yes.
is absolutely true. And so one of the places early on that I found to go to myself, I was there for 2 meetings. It was an organization that was just specifically for women. It was specifically for domestic violence, and I showed up 2 times. After the second time, they wanted me to help lead the program. So it's like I can't be who I am. I can't my heart can't be healed because you're saying you love me, and you're saying that I want to help you, and you're saying these are some resources, but at the same time it's like, you're all right now, we just need you to turn around and help everybody else instantly, without allowing my heart the time and space to heal. Because there was a time where I should not have been preaching or teaching or trying to pray anybody else through anything, because I was hurting so bad, but it wasn't recognized. um, and so again, I thank you for that. It's really not easy to be able to come into a space after you've been hurt so much, after all, and I mean me personally, after all that I've seen, after all that I've experienced, to try to give it one more chance to go into an atmosphere and to see what this group of ladies is going to be like. It was really hard to do that. And so again, I commend you on making that effort and letting everyone know that, you're not alone. And everybody in here, we may have some of the same problems, or our issues may be completely different, but you're still not by yourself. And I never felt uncomfortable with being able to say, you know what, I am a survivor of domestic violence. So I wasn't looked at any different. And also because I'm a leader. And I think women have an issue when you're a leader in the church, when you're a leader in ministry, when you're a leader in the business world, in corporate America. It's like there's more on your shoulders. And so it's very difficult to say, yes, I have problems just like you, because you're always expected to be the one on top. When you're always expected to be the one that has the answers, it makes it difficult for you to say, no, hey, I need help just like you do. So,
can I say something too to that? I let me put on my apostle hat for a minute and speak to that. As leaders, especially leaders who are in charge, and you're able to make decisions. Um, One of the things that I know that we do at our ministry is that when we have um, leaders who come and join our ministry, and we've sat and talked with them, and they've shared their heart and says, hey, I've had this experience and that experience, and I'm going through this. One of the things we do is we say, okay, come and sit, come and learn, come and heal, because it doesn't matter to me that you're good at lifting an offering or playing, or maybe you used to be praise and worship leader. Like, none of that matters to us. We're like, no, come and sit and get healed, and allow God to just love on you, without being pulled to utilize your gifts, because they're gifts, they're skills that we have. And so I think it's important for those who are senior leaders, to find other ways to fulfill the needs that it may be needed in the church. So here's an example. If I know that, you know, Erin is a great worship leader and she sings well and she's coming, but she's been through this violation. When she comes to my church, I'm not putting her saying, hey, Erin, you want to do praise and worship now over here? I would never do that to her. I want her to sit and get healed and allow the word of God to heal her. Um, Now, in the meantime, although I need a praise and worship leader, what am I going to do? I'm going to put on the MP3. Is that what it's called?
yes.
I don't know. I'm gonna put it on a track. We're gonna Bluetooth my Pandora, and we're gonna sing, from the goodness of our heart.
Right.
And it doesn't matter to me that I have people amongst me that could sing. And what happens is a lot of leaders, they're more worried about performance base in the church, when that's not the way it should be. And to put people to work because I know you can do this or you can do that, or no, let them get healed, because if not, what happens is we bleed on the people.
Yes.
Because we're not healed. And healing, it comes in a lot of different ways, emotional healing, spiritual healing, physical healing. I might need financial healing, whatever it may be. But we have to make sure that people are made whole before we put them out there to say, hey, come on. And I think that that's really, really important, that people feel seen. Like, okay, they see me. They hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh God.
So, thank you, Apostle. Apostle Tommy is here. He is here.
Well, you know what? And let me tell you, my husband and I, we've been married 11 years, and we got married as adults. And so adults who had already experienced life and things like that. But for me, he was my first in a lot of areas. He was the first man to actually hold the door open for me. Right? He was the first one to open my car door, and those type of things, those little things that I never experienced in my previous marriage. And so I didn't have physical abuse, but there was a lot of verbal abuse. And so he showed me how to be a woman, and he celebrates me as a woman. And so that speaks volumes to. Erin asked about how I get to be here. Well, some of that had to do with my husband, who, because of how he celebrates me as a woman, helps me even the more to pour some of that onto other women. Like he's an advocate for women to say, listen, no, and especially sometimes we live in these misogynistic societies where they still want women just to, I don't know, bear children and be barefooted or whatever. And so they don't want to see you be the corporate anything. They don't want you to be, the CEO. They don't want you to be the owner operator. And so it's many times where he says, no, see my wife. See my wife. Not that he can't do it himself, but he says, no, see my wife, because a lot of times we do go into churches and different places where even in the business world, I've had men who more or less in the South, who try to overlook me as a woman, and he like, okay, well, whatever she say. She's the boss, she's the owner, and so that's I think that's important.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And so I want to answer a question that just came to us from Latora, and she's asking, what are the signs of domestic violence, and when do you know it's time to leave? So, Latora, I'm going to give you my answer, and then I'm going to ask Erin to follow up. But first of all, some of the signs are how you're being treated. Are you being isolated? Are you being told when you can see your family and friends? Are you being told you can go here or there only with my permission? Are you being controlled? Is someone not allowing you to spend or have your own money? It's easy to tell when there's physical abuse because it's physical, but abuse is also verbal. Somebody talking down to you, and it does not have to be yelling and screaming. It does not have to be cursing, but somebody calling you out of your name. Somebody can say something other people may think is very, very sweet, but to you, it's a dig, it's an insult, it's something that hurts. And so I would say the main thing is, whatever just happened, how did it make you feel? Whatever was just done, whatever was just said, how did it make you feel? And when it's time to leave, when you are absolutely honest with yourself, when you look at your situation, and when this is not right for me. It's easy to know when your life is in danger. But you know what? Is this person tearing down my self-esteem? Are they doing what Apostle Tommy did for Apostle Stephanie? Is this man or is this woman building me up? Are they trying to help me finish school? Are they trying to encourage me to move further in my job? Or are they trying to shut me down and just keep me stuck in the house? And so that's what I wanted to say. But you can also go to the hotline.org, and there are a list of questions that you can answer. There's the power and control wheel that you can look at and see if any of those issues identify with you. And if you answer yes to one question, if you can look at that power and control wheel and say, this is my situation, then it's time for you to examine what you're dealing with and what you're going through and do the best thing for yourself. So I encourage you to go to the hotline. That's if you're in the United States, wherever you are. Go to the website of the domestic violence agency that's near you. Look at the questions on the questionnaires that they have, and be honest with yourself when you're answering those questions, because lying to yourself will just keep you in a situation longer than what you need to be in it. So that's what I wanted to say about that, Latora, and I hope that helped you. So, Erin, do you want to add to anything?
Yeah. Thank you for the bravery to even ask the question.
Yes.
I think Pastor Tia offered all the signs that I couldn't add to. I mean, the one thing I would say too, in addition to that, and that wheel, which is so effective and important, the wheel that she was mentioning on domestic violence, website, it is something that is quite shocking to see some of the ways that, we have an idea of what rape is. We have an idea of what domestic violence is. And I can assure you that idea is not always what it looks like. And so it's important that all of us are aware, men and women, of the power dynamics at play in our relationships. Domestic violence goes both ways. It has a manipulative core to it, I would say. And also, when you want to know when it's time to leave, another piece of this is communication. So do you feel like you can communicate with your partner, not in an accusatory way, but when you're hurting? Can you communicate to say that hurt? And what is the response? This made me feel demeaned. This made me feel like I'm not important to you. This made me feel like you don't love me, and these are some of the phrases. And if you're afraid to share how you feel with your partner, that is also, I think, a big indicator that you need to take a look at and just take good care of yourself. And Pastor T always says, make the plan. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation, some are more critical, dangerous. Some you just need to make tough decisions. Sometimes finances are tied up, and you just have to take the hard steps and find a way. But make the plan. You deserve, you are so worthy of love. You are love. You were born to be loved and respected. And so, but we also have to just follow that path of doing that for ourselves, so that then we start to bring in people that do that for us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Erin. And Apostle, I want to go to you if you want to add to that, or I have another question for you. But I just want to say, LaTora, just one more thing. Just the very fact of asking the question is an indicator that something is not right. So just if you're just thinking and feeling like, could this be? Like, is it? That right there, that notion is an indicator. That's your first red flag. That's the first one. And don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. If something is making you feel or think this could not be right, or maybe I need to get more information, don't ignore that. So, Apostle, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I like a couple things that you ladies said. I'm drawing from you. I'm taking little notes over here. Because you said how, one, I like that you mentioned about men and women. So, I don't want my brothers to think that domestic violence or is just about women. There
Yeah.
are men who are in abusive relationships also, and who have people who control them and control their every move and everything that and so I believe, even if you are a man listening, and you said make your plan of escape, if
Yes.
that's what but find a good counselor that can counsel with you. And I think Erin said manipulation is
Yes.
rooted in manipulation. And so it's really important to understand. The Bible says, "Know those that labor amongst you," to understand who am I dealing with, and what is driving this. And so I think that that's so important. I'm going to look up this power and control wheel. I can't wait till you ladies come to Sister Circle.
I'll send it to you when we're done. I'll send it to you.
And I feel like you all need to be panelists to share, because one thing I'll say about Sister Circle is, we draw from those who, I don't know everything and I don't have everything, but if I know that this is your area of expertise, come on, share, come on. And so I think that that's really important, to remove that spirit of jealousy that sometimes and competitiveness. um Go ahead, Tia, you had a question. I'm sorry.
Yes. So I thank you so much for all that you shared. When we're done, I will send you the power and control wheel.
Okay.
So you'll have it. But thank you so much for what you added. And I just but I'm just really happy. Not real to have that question. I'm just, because that's somebody who's like, I'm doing something for myself. And I think we don't celebrate each other enough when we get to that moment of just trying, just finding out. It takes a lot to do that. And so I just want to celebrate Latoya for asking that question, be it for yourself or for someone else. My heart is just really happy right now. But Apostle, I wanted to ask you, um, the event that I was at one of the actual physical events, but I know Sister Circle Fellowship, you meet regularly, be it in person or virtually. I want to, if you could just address um, the time that it takes to develop relationships, the time that it takes in a healing process, because it's not overnight. It's not something you just walk into and you're okay. You don't get hurt overnight and you don't get healed overnight. But just the importance of uh, Sister Circle Fellowship and you being there over a time period, and the relationships that you've developed with these women, so much so that you all could just say, hey, we're all free, let's get together right now. So
Mhm.
can you talk about just the importance of putting in the time and developing those relationships?
A lot has to do with being prayerful, to make sure, like the other day, I wanted to invite everybody. And the Lord said, no, not that one. No, not that one. Because he knows who can handle who, and who's, it's important to protect each other's story and
Yes.
your testimony. And so everybody can't be, I have the privilege of meeting with a lot of people one on one before they even get together as a group. So one on one, I've taken time to listen. It comes with building that relationship. Everything is not about me giving a response or having to solve your problems. It's just me listening. um, and so I have a family member that calls me every day, and she says, thank you for listening. Okay, I listen. And at that point, there are some points where I'll give her some direction or things like that. But a lot of times it's just me listening and listening effectively, and I'll take some notes. And then so like this week I said, I'm gonna send you first. I sent her a book. Then I said, I'm gonna send you some flashcards with some scriptures that you can begin looking at every day, because I think you need this. Now, I'm not a licensed therapist, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just a good friend. I'm just a good sister, is who I am. And so I think it's important too for us to stay in our lane,
Yes.
because you can jack somebody up. Because I just got finished watching Blue Bloods. That's one of my shows, y'all. Now I think, I'm a detective. Now I think I'm a therapist, because, I watch Grey's Anatomy. And so, no, like, stay in your lane. There are people who have medical degrees, who have went to school for lots of years for these degrees. And we have to understand that even as preachers, unless I'm a preacher who has gone to school to get a degree in psychology or some other field, um, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, because you can jack people up
Yes.
worse than what they came in. And then that's important. And even in the church, I have to be Holy Spirit led. The Holy Spirit has to tell me to say certain things. The Holy Spirit has to tell me, and I'm always listening for him to speak. So there's times where he say, shut up, don't say nothing. Just be quiet. Just watch. Because guess what? Erin talked about that manipulation. There will be some who, all he did was step on your toe, and you made it seem like he cut your toe off. So you got to know when those people that come will cry wolf.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
They'll come thinking, saying, oh, well, I know you have, domestic violence is your thing. So I come and I shed tears. And now I got you thinking that I'm being abused when I really wasn't. And so, I caution, get a really close relationship with God as you're building these relationship with women, so that God will begin speaking to you to say, be careful. They're lying. They're embellishing the truth. And so I think that has helped me over the years to build these relationships. And then, um, even with the different topics that I come up with, I spent a lot of time praying and asking the women, taking surveys. I was just looking at our surveys from, I think the one you were at, Tia, Transform Woman, um, to see what is really the need that women have. If women are going through domestic violence, then why am I still telling them how to wear stilettos and the red bottoms? I can't even think about no red bottoms, and I'm on the run.
Right.
And and so I think that that's really, really important, to really spend time and find out what the need is in your communities.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. And I want to follow up on what you said. Stay in your lane, and the importance of individuals seeking out counseling. But you have to seek out the right counselor, because what I found as I began to go through my situation is that every counselor is not equipped to deal with domestic violence. Yes. Every counselor is not equipped to deal with trauma. Every counselor is not equipped to deal with sexual assault. And I did not understand that until I started going through and I was lining up with counselors who just did not know what they
were. And every counselor doesn't have to be a spiritual counselor. Like, yes. When I was going through divorce, I thought I needed a spiritual counselor, a Christian counselor. And I got to this Christian counselor, and she wasn't so Christian-like, and she really didn't understand my heart. And so I was like, okay, she's not for me. Yes. And so it's okay. You might have to go through more than one counselor, but don't give up.
Exactly. So find what you need. And I say this all the time, just like we say to children, if you are being hurt, then you tell, and you keep telling until someone listens to you. And so as an adult, if you are being hurt and you need help, you keep seeking it out. You keep going through resources until you find what it is that you need. So whatever your trauma is, then you need to find someone who can handle that trauma. Do not walk into a church and think because someone has Reverend in front of their name that they have it all together and they can help you. No, it can cause more damage, because I don't need scriptures right now. Right now, I need to sit down and write out a plan on how I'm about to get up out of this house. You could pray for me while I'm doing it, but I got to get up out of here. So it's like you really have, that's what you have to do. You have to take that onus, that responsibility to help yourself in that way. But on the other side, as leaders, we have to do just as you said. We have to have that responsibility and know, I can't do this, but I'm going to point you in the right direction. I'm going to call up who I know can help you, or I'm going to gather these resources and give them to you and point you in the right direction. So that is just, that is absolutely huge, because as you said, we can hurt people trying to help them. And some of us are really sincere, but you're sincerely wrong. And we don't want to do that. So we are a little bit just over the hour. So, Erin, do you have any more questions or comments for Apostle?
Heck yeah, I could go on all night.
Well, we got 2 more minutes. So let's go.
No, I just no, I really wanted to highlight your ability to celebrate other women, and I feel like you probably bring that to your circles in a lot of ways. Am I right? Or
I do.
Yeah. So the celebrating is it, to me, I feel like I found that the celebrating is as important as the releasing, like, because it's that balance of the cycles of life, of nature, of, so I do believe that sharing piece with this tough stuff, to not only have that, to have that balance of the celebrating. So I guess the only other thing I was going to ask you for your circles is, do you have a container or a structure that you use, or is it more organic, free flow?
I do have a structure, a little bit, because again, I'm always listening to ask God, okay, what should I have? Where should it be? What colors should it be? Those type of things. But I'm learning to uh, downplay some things because, like, I'm an event planner, so I love a good event, and so I have to bring myself down to stick to a budget sometimes, or I feel like, oh, it's indoors, we have to have linens, can't have plastic and paper, has to be linens, and so, but I like to, in me celebrating the ladies, I like to have classy stuff because some women don't have that opportunity. They don't have the opportunity to eat off of real plates and things like that. And so if you're coming from a place, I want you to feel beautiful when you walk in the room. But at the same time, like, people always ask me, what's the dress code? Now, I love pearls, right? But I'll tell you something. I keep these my backup pearls. I keep them in the car. At any point, I can just pop them on. And so, and people know now that I live in North Carolina, I wear my slides more than I wear other shoes most of the time because it's nice weather here. And so, I'm a very down to earth person. And so, like, I say, well, you wear whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
If jeans and sneakers is your thing, come on and wear it. But if you want to dress a little fancier, then fine, wear that. Like, I don't get caught up in that. And so, yeah, I like the women to be celebrated at all costs, and because they deserve it. They really deserve it. And even some, I think through that, it allows women who you would look at them and say, oh, they got it all together. I know they're not really going to do anything. It allows even those women to feel comfortable to say, okay, I could put down all my bags and relax. And so that's the type of spaces I'm really looking to create all the time. And the planning, it's a lot of planning, but then at the same time, there's still a part of me that's like Mary Poppins that puts her finger in the wind and just blows and say, come on, let's have an event. And I'll be like, well, you didn't go through the 3-month checklist. That's okay. Forget that checklist. We're having an event. And so, and so that's where I'm at. But Erin, in an hour and a half, you can be in Charlotte on one of those cheap flights. We can fly.
Oh my gosh, dreams do come true.
We'll have tea and all kinds of good food. Just pop in.
Let's go, Tia. Let's go, Tia. Let's plan it.
Yes,
hour and a half.
Work it out. We will work it out. Apostle, thank you so much. But before we go for tonight, I want to ask you one more time to share your contact information for Sister Circle, and then I want to ask you to leave Love Bay with your final words on this evening. We were talking about the importance of creating that safe space for women. So if you share the contact information again, and then just leave us with your final words on that.
Okay, well, I'm Apostle Stephanie Jordan from Abiding Love Deliverance Center here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The name of my organization is Sister Circle Fellowship, and it's SISTA, Sister Circle Fellowship at gmail.com. We're also on social media. On Facebook, we have a private Facebook group called Sister Circle Fellowship. If you want to look us up and become a member, just go ahead and click on it, and we'll invite you into the group. Also, how to create, for those of you who may want to start your own sister circle, by all means, I would say, gather the women, come up with an event, a topic, have a little cake and punch or whatever. The first one we had, we brought in a doctor to talk about whole health and how women can get healthy. And so it doesn't always have to be about domestic violence, but begin to create those small, safe spaces for women who can share.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Erin, do you have some final words for Love Bay on tonight?
Just everything that Apostle Stephanie has spoken about tonight. That just highlighted my weekend. Thank you for sending me off in such a good way, and all of our listeners. I really appreciate you.
Amen.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you, Latora. I'm still thinking about you, and I pray that you have all that you need. You make the decisions that you need to make for yourself or for your loved one. For whatever reason you asked that question, I pray that you get what you need moving forward. Love Bay, thank you for being here with us. I hope that your hearts were touched. And Apostle Stephanie, thank you for even encouraging those who will want to start their own sister circle fellowships to be helpful to themselves and those around them. We always say that we're here to start the conversation, but it shouldn't stop at talking. At some point, you should get up and do something. So thank you very much for that encouragement to move forward and creating your own organizations or fellowship. So Love Bay, if you want to catch up on previous episodes from our program, you can visit our YouTube channel, Suffering in Silence DV. And I'm also, Apostle Tommy, if you're still listening, happy to say that at some point you and Apostle Stephanie will be back to talk to us about how you serve people through love, with love through your food. So thank you so much for joining us, Suffering in Silence with Pastor Tia on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. We're here with you every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Love Bay, remember that we're rising out of the ashes together. Good evening.
Good evening.